I've read that these can be used over again. Just make sure they're still good. This is the dummy plug on the fuel rail or oil rail. There's several names that it goes by. Since this is a 10 millimeter, I'm assuming this is original. And it used to have a problem with it'd be a long crank start, and then when it would get hot, I guess the oil would be would lose the viscosity, and it'd be hotter basically, and it just wouldn't start. And right there, that's the problem. As you can see right there, that gasket is completely blown off. This was a leak that was causing the long crank start, and at times when it was hot, crank no start. This cost me a lot. These redesigned dummy plugs from Ford actually have the gasket, and they also have a nylon washer, but it does have like a crack on it. I don't know if that's normal or not, but they all come like that. This one even has it right there. I don't know if you can tell. I'm just hoping this will work. I don't want to get stranded in the middle of nowhere, miles away from home, with a fully loaded trailer. I don't have a 12 millimeter hex, but I do have the 12 millimeter ratchet, and this time I just found a punch that had a kind of the same size, and now I'll be able to use a regular ratchet on it, 12 millimeter. There's different torque specs on different pages. I will include a link to them all. I'm gonna stick to the one that says it's 60 foot-pounds because they were pretty tight. Torque is very important here. I'm just going, the one I trust the most would probably be the tech book that I found online for the, there you go, that's it. For the 6.0, it says is a 03.5 or 03.25 and up. I'm gonna go with that. I hope that's now this standpipe. Oh, okay, that's odd. That one's not original then. Okay. That one has been replaced already. Might as well do it anyways. Sometimes they come out whole, sometimes they come out in pieces. Now this one did have that. I don't know if that's normal. That little It looks a little odd, doesn't look clean. Now, as you can tell, this one also has that little crack on the nylon washer, but at least it has it. The other one didn't even have that, and I don't see any kind of deformation on that ring, so I'm just going to take it as that was also damaged. I'm gonna have to get a real 12mm Allen. Okay, is it important? It's important to torque down the standpipe and the dummy plug. I tried the punch to see if it would do. It started sliding, so instead of messing with it, I decided to get this 12mm Allen socket. It's only like $6, $7 at AutoZone. This gasket is reusable, according to some of the books. It doesn't look damaged, so I will be using that. Definitely worth the $7 or whatever. You want to clean the mating surfaces with an outward type of motion. That way you don't get any junk inside. Dirt, debris, whatever. I read in one of the sources, but it might not be the valve cover that needs some sort of gasket forming deal, kind of like the STC. I don't see anything, so I'm just gonna let the gasket do its job and leave it like that. Hopefully it doesn't leak. When using the same gaskets, I noticed that on one side there's like a little ridge, and it's probably from when it was tightened up. It's basically this hole right here, so I'm assuming the gasket probably went that way. Now the only one that seems to matter is this one. The one in the corner right here cannot be one that has a stud. It has to be a bolt, because it will ruin your wire loom. Okay, the sequence for my truck, at least, the rear bolt that goes over there, that's missing, is actually part of the bracket where the victim's gonna sit on. That's a stud, followed by a bolt, stud, which is where the other bracket for the victim's gonna sit. This is very important to be a bolt, because if it's this is most trucks, if not all, if it's a stud, it will rub against the wire loom and eventually cause shorts and havoc on your system. The bottom part, this is a stud where your dipstick's gonna be bolted onto. Bolt, followed by the other stud, bolt, stud, and then at the very rear, I don't know if you can really see it, but there is a bolt back there. That's gonna be the toughest one to get to, I guess. It is going to be tightened up to 80 inch-pounds. I don't recall seeing a specific bolting pattern, but I'll zigzag through it, I guess. $12mm socket with a swivel and about a 6-inch extension. Deep socket, 12mm with about a 2-inch extension and the swivel on top to get behind the thickened bracket. If you're going to install the whole bracket, like if the stud came off with the bracket, in other words, if this nut didn't come off or brought the whole stud off, remember those are actually 10mm bolts. These are 10mm. They are not the 12 that we've been using. So just in case you're going to install it with the stud and bracket together, but frankly it is a lot easier just to install the stud by itself and then install the I have a bigger problem. It looks like that last hole is been stripped, so I might have to Haley coil it, or let's see what I figure out right now. These bolts shouldn't be this tight. That's why that other bolt, probably that one over there, is stripped in the back, and I had to Haley coil it. So for sure this engine's been worked on, no doubt about that. Gonna have to be very careful about this. I don't want to break it.
The sweet spot to get to that troublesome bolt back there in the bottom is right through here. And with a flex head, or a regular wrench in my case, you can start unbolting it. I really don't know how I'm going to torque it down as far as getting the proper torque. It's very tight. I might have to just go for feel on that one.
Again, if you got like a flex head ratchet type, it'd be a lot easier. I have to take this crap off, whatever that is. Now the same wrench that was used for one of these sensors, I believe. Or the STC, it's a 5/16 anyways, the 5/16, sorry, 15/16 is the same one for this sensor right here. As you can tell by the gasket itself, it's about to give out right there, so I don't think it was making a good seal either. You can tell it's kind of damaged. It's about to blow up. This one seems to have that little nylon washer on it. However, I don't know if it's, original or not. I'll have to pull out the rest with probably like a pick or something. £60
In order to gain better access to the engine bay, I might come to the decision of actually removing this rear well cover. I think it's just this bolt right here, 3 bolts up here, and another one right here, in addition to these that are right here on the fender well. This one, and the one right under right here, were 8mm, and then the others were 5.5. So like this one right here, this one right here. It's like every other, it's Phillips screwdriver and then 5.5, Phillips 5.5. Fender well cover should come out relatively easy. You shouldn't struggle with it. I was struggling because apparently there's one of the big nuts up here that was covered with mud. After I took that out, it practically fell out. Just, out of its place, ready to... Oh, that's right here. Awesome.
Alright, be careful with this line. It's like a brake sensor line that's attached to your wheel well. So just be careful with that. tell by the ridges that there's something on the other side. Okay, I mean, I'm this far in deep into the project, might as well do it right. So I'm trying to get this cover off. There was about 9 bolts on it. I disconnected also this, guess what is it, like a condenser type of deal, I don't know. It's part of the AC unit. It has 2, 3 bolts on it. I just need to move a couple of inches. Apparently I need to take this one off because it's connected directly, so I can slide, to the back, just a couple of millimeters, so I can clear the cover. Since the system is empty, or should be, I am going to disconnect that part. I haven't checked the torque specs on this thing, but I am going to just mark it so I can know more or less the original position. Maybe count the number of turns also. Might be under pressure. I am not sure. So it's never a bad idea to wear eye protection. Okay. This cover was taken out by sliding it out. It's the only way it's going to go in or out, just by sliding it and then popping it out. It was easy by facilitated by actually taking the valve cover off, but making sure you cover it with some rags or something to keep all that dirt away from it. But that does give you the clearance you need to work on the oil rail, since we're going to take the oil rail off to work on the standpipe. Now this fuel rail or oil rail has 3 Torx 30 on top, these 3 right here. It's got 4 on the bottom, and then 2 on each side, 1 on this side, 1 on the other side, for a total of 9. According to the book, it has a specific way of actually bolting it down. First you kind of snap the little nozzles, I guess, into each injector, just being sure to push it in, flush. Don't go at an angle, because you might pinch a little gasket and it all goes to hell from that. You'll start getting misfires and stuff, and I really don't want to do this stuff again. So for taking it off, there's no indication of what to put order. The assembly does have an order to it. I will explain it later on during the assembly phase. there's the bottom part of the fuel rail. Of the standpipe, correction. Now this is a part that I'm a little nervous about, because I've never done this. It says to put these as guide rods. But you also don't want to use the bolts as a method of pressing the fuel rail into the seat. There it goes. All right. Heard it snap into place. Now these bolts do have a specific order of getting bolted down. I wouldn't use any air tools here or battery or cordless tools. Just use your hand. This is very delicate stuff around here. The new fuel rail, you can tell it has the nylon gaskets. Okay, this is a fuel rail more or less. It's got the 9 bolts. That's the pattern which the book or the web page indicate. It's kind of like in a circular pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and tighten them to 10 foot-pounds, 13 Newton meters. So once you put the fuel rail in, make sure it's seated and flush as you press it in. Make sure to manually press it in till you hear the snapping, basically. If you're putting new injectors while you're at it, make sure you put oil at the receiving end where the tip's gonna go in. didn't fight me all the way out, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna fight me all the way in. It's a lot easier to put back in than it was to take out.
This thing goes down there. Jesus.